It was one of those cold, heavy evenings when the sky seemed to carry the weight of the world. The rain had been relentless since morning, drenching the city, leaving puddles like forgotten stories on every corner. Inside his aging Toyota Camry, Alex Carson glanced at the dashboard clock, 11:47 p.m. He sighed. One more ride, then home. That was the rule he made for himself. He always stuck to it. Almost always. He was a rideshare driver. Not because he loved it, but because it kept him moving, kept his thoughts busy, kept the ghosts at bay. The silence of his apartment was often too loud to bear. So he drove. He had just pulled into the shadowy corner outside a community shelter when he saw them, a woman holding a toddler in one arm and clutching the hand of a small boy in the other. Her coat was soaked, hanging off her like a burden. Her hair, once probably beautiful, was slicked down by the rain. The little boy stood still, but his eyes followed Alex's car with more maturity than a child should ever have. Alex lowered the window halfway. Before he could say a word, the boy stepped forward. "Sir, my mom's too tired to cry. Can you drive us home?" That sentence didn't just reach Alex's ears. It went straight to his chest and settled there, heavy and familiar. He blinked in surprise. The kid's voice was soft, polite, rehearsed. Like he'd said it to other drivers before and been turned down. But something in his tone, hope mixed with hopelessness, made Alex hesitate. He glanced at the ride request on his app. His breath caught in his throat. Passenger name, Sarah Carson. His fingers trembled. For a second, he thought it was some kind of error. His screen must have glitched. But the name stayed there, glowing back at him through the raindrops. Sarah Carson. His sister's name. She died 14 years ago. A car accident. A winter night. He was supposed to pick her up from work, but he was late. 5 minutes. That was all it took. She had tried walking instead. He hadn't forgiven himself since. He looked back at the woman. This Sarah was clearly not his sister. But the coincidence felt deliberate. Like the universe had brought this name back to him for a reason. "Yeah," Alex finally said, voice cracked. "I can drive you." They slid into the car. The toddler, about 2 years old, was wrapped in a tattered fleece blanket and curled up fast asleep on her mother's chest. The boy, Jason, he later learned, climbed into the front seat, still clutching a damp backpack. "Thank you, sir," he said again, without looking. Alex glanced at the woman through the rearview mirror. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. She nodded faintly in gratitude, but her eyes didn't rise. She didn't speak. "Where to?" Alex asked. Jason answered. "The shelter on Maple and 14th. We got a room for tonight. Just tonight." He said it like he understood everything, instability, deadlines, broken promises. Alex nodded and started the car. The ride was quiet. The radio played soft piano music in the background, and the only sound was the occasional sniffle from Jason and the rhythmic breathing of the toddler. Alex finally spoke. "I had a sister named Sarah," he said, staring ahead into the wet road. "She passed away years ago." Jason turned slightly. "My mom's named Sarah too. She's real tired. I think she wants to cry but can't. She said crying doesn't fix empty pockets." Alex swallowed hard. "What about your dad?" "Gone. I don't know where. He left after Emmy was born. Sometimes I think maybe he'll come back. But I don't think he remembers us." Alex's heart felt like it was caving in. "How old are you?" 8. "I'm the big one now." Alex glanced over. "That's a lot to carry." Jason shrugged. "Somebody has to." That silence again. But this time, it felt loaded. With understanding, with grief, with two lives accidentally overlapping. When they arrived at the shelter, Sarah gently shook her head as she tried to pull out her phone. "I don't have the full fare," she said, voice hoarse. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have booked the ride." Alex shook his head immediately. "No. It's fine. Really. I've got it." She hesitated, looking up for the first time. Their eyes met. For a brief moment, the tiredness vanished, and what remained was raw gratitude. It was in that gaze that Alex saw something deeply familiar. Not her face. Not her name. Her pain. He helped her carry Emmy inside while Jason walked quietly behind them, dragging a half-broken suitcase. Just before she stepped into the shelter's warm hallway, Sarah turned to Alex. "Thank you," she whispered. "We were soaked. She has asthma. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to ask." "You don't have to thank me," he said. "Just get warm. You'll be okay." Jason looked up. "Will we see you again?" Alex opened his mouth, but nothing came out. He wasn't sure. That night, Alex didn't sleep. He lay awake thinking about the name on the screen, the boy's voice, the way Sarah had looked at him like she'd known pain longer than joy. By morning, he knew what he had to do. He called the shelter. "Hi. I drove a woman and her 2 kids last night. Sarah Carson. I'd like to help them, if I can." The woman on the phone was cautious. "Are you family?" "No," he said. "But I want to be, something. Anything that helps." Over the following weeks, Alex visited often. He brought groceries. Paid for a few hotel nights when the shelter filled up. Helped Sarah get back on her feet. She got a part-time job at a laundromat. Jason returned to school. Emmy's asthma began to ease with proper medicine. Sarah tried to refuse the help at first. "We're not charity," she said. "I know," Alex replied. "You're not. You're people. And maybe, helping you is helping me too." Months passed. One day, Sarah stood outside their new small apartment, clean, simple, safe, and handed Alex an envelope. Inside was a drawing. Stick figures. A boy. A girl. A mom. And a man in a car with a smile. Above it were scrawled words. "You drove us home. But you gave us one too." Alex cried for the first time in years. A year later, Jason read aloud an essay he wrote at a school event. He was nervous, but proud. Sarah and Alex sat in the front row. "The kindest person I've ever met wasn't family. He was just a driver who saw my mom too tired to cry and said yes when others said no. He didn't just give us a ride. He gave us hope. And I think that makes him family now." Alex wiped his tears, held Sarah's hand, and smiled. He had taken thousands of rides in his life. But only one had truly changed him. Sometimes, life brings you full circle in the most unexpected ways. Never underestimate the power of a simple act, a ride, a kind word, a moment of compassion. You never know who's sitting in your passenger seat. And sometimes, when you help someone find their way home, you find your own.